I said, do you care if I voice record some of it? Not video. She said, Starbucks or here. Depends on my health and how bad my little is sick, because she is. I said, oh, I can bring you food too if you can't get out. She said, nobody else is to know until after the fact. I said, okay, sounds good to me. She said, not any of the rest of the teams or those in this YouTube circle, not one. I said, I'm here just myself and my daughter. She said, I heard you tell Live earlier that you'd called me, and etc. I said, yeah, I won't mention anything more. She said, I wasn't sure of the context. I said, yeah, I totally understand. I would think I was with that group too. I don't know why I even said that. Doesn't even really go with what she was saying. She goes, I was hurting and in bed because on my live, guys, I had said that I was offended that she accused me of harassing a military vet. So that's what she's referring to right now when she's saying that. She said that she goes, I was hurting and in bed. My eldest came down to watch my little whine napped after being up with her sick AF. And she asked me if I know who Purple Knights is. She said, I know they've been in the discourse pushing BS with one of the Green Eyes BK trolls. I've been hunting them. I sent her a voice clip, and I'm trying to play it, and it says error. Dang it. She said, now they are in the open air chat. She goes, also, if you feel like and see anyone trying to, okay, so you guys find this interesting, guys. This is the interesting part. After telling me she's going to meet with me, I'm telling you, I was live during this. I think. She mentions, all of a sudden, PayPal and Venmo. Very odd timing after she says she'll meet up with me. She goes, also, if you feel like and see anyone trying to donate to my son's Venmo PayPal, tell them to do it via the actual links to my son's app. Put up on What Big Eyes YouTube, not via creators' apps or accounts. Something was up with that BS, and I'm not going to be pulled into non-transparent BS. I said, oh yeah, people need to donate through your links, not through anyone else's. That's shady AF. I'll text you tomorrow and see if you're still cool with meeting. I don't want you to feel weird. I don't know exactly who Purple Knights is, just that she used to be one of Doug's moms, but was booted from Doug's. Which I know more who Purple Knights is now. I mean, I know her, but yeah, she's cool. She's nice. Anyways, Jsb then messages me. Okay, it's the same, from the same night. She goes, might be why she's suddenly up my ass, and she sends me a screenshot of, I guess, Misty Fields said, chat, get a hold of Ziggy for info about Jody Sue. I don't know what that meant. I said, what WTF is Misty talking about? And I said, oh, does she mean to your Cash App? Are all your links on What Big Eyes? And she says, they're up, I think, on the community page. She says, I have no clue. I asked her, but she never responded. So honestly, now that I'm reading this, she didn't really ask me to share her links. She just had mentioned for me to tell you guys that if you are donating or wanting to donate to her, do it through her own links, not through her. She wanted me to mention to you guys, if you wanted to donate to her, do it through her own links that are on What Big Eyes community post, instead of through like a creator's PayPal or something like that. I was live at the time where I was messaging with her. So I felt like she was wanting me to mention it, about the links and bring attention to it. I don't know. So I told her, I said, I'll just share them on my community page. Screw it. People talk shit, whatever. And I told her no creator should be collecting money into their own account for you. They should share your links. Sounds shady if a creator is doing that.
Eyes up here.
HBO Max is only $2.99 per month for 12 months.
Coming in hot!
Get all the hits for 70% off.
What?
Yeah. Get it while you still can. Deal ends Monday.
I think that Missy was talking about if someone wanted to help you out to email me. It sounded like she was talking shit, but I think she meant it in a good way. She's usually not a troll type. She said, I'm at 0 fucks too. Wouldn't even be needed had they left us the fuck alone and not repeatedly doxed, stalked, etc. and would leave Andy alone too. But nope. So for months now, YouTube has costed us a fortune because of safety measures. Kept the cabin from being done, put us behind, kept them in this camper, and want to bitch about Venmo, PayPal, Cash App so my grandson can handle the purchases for the interior, septic, electric, the move of it, because I can't, especially if something happens to me health-wise. All while they can con, cheat, etc., and make fortunes running info from me, my vids, and titles with my name. They can kiss my whole ass, Ziggy. I said, yeah, screw it, I'll just share it for you. She goes, you want me to send you his links? I said, I'm sharing Big Eyes posts unless there's something you wanted me to add to it. She said, it's all good, however you want. I said, she has the Venmo and PayPal on there. Jody says, I think he has a Cash App, but one creator wanted all kinds of others set up. Just like, or it says, just didn't like the instant weirdness and confusion around it. And then what the fuck was done to me us last night has flavorings of wrong on it. That's fine. If they ask for Cash App, just shout and I'll send the link. Then I asked her what happened because she said something was done to her last night. I said, and she put question mark. I said, when you said what the fuck was done to me, or I asked her, and she said on Doug's. I said, oh, I haven't watched him since he dissed me. And I said, so he wanted people to send the money to him first? She said the last few minutes of his live with me in chat, the streamer link was sent to me. I don't know. I don't understand her messages a lot of the times. Did she say grandson? No. No. I didn't mind like helping her kids, you know, trying to help her for her kids and stuff, but I just felt it was weird that she was mentioning PayPal and stuff like that right after she told me she would meet with me. I felt like she was trying to butter me up. You know what I mean? And I could be wrong. But I instantly, guys, I swear on everything. I knew she was never going to meet with me. I knew it. I had a feeling what she was doing. I think she wanted me to share her links. And I think she also wanted to control who I talked to. She wanted me to stay off Ben Hill. She didn't want me talking to certain people. I think that's why she said she would meet with me. Because I think she thought that if I thought we were going to meet, that maybe I would do more how she wanted things, you know? She didn't mention grandson. She said son. She said, so, my grown son. I'm sorry. That's what she said. I asked her, was he taking in donations for you? And I'm referring to Doug. She said he and the rest of that group announced to me that they were going for Andy. I lit the fuck up. And then when she replied to, was he taking in donations for you? She said that too. They're going to cause my kids and I to get murdered, or the goddamn public. They don't care. Long story, but they know. And this shit for 3 weeks was a goddamn setup to push to this. Only after they figured out I'm in possession of some shit that fucks everyone, though, of course. I'll keep holding my cards for now. And I answered, I said, Doug is a fake. I hate to say that because I think underneath he could be a good guy. I'm interested in hearing from Andy, but not because I care if he sold drugs or not, but just because he really hasn't spoken. But if me talking to Andy puts you or anyone in danger, then I won't do it. It's not that important, I don't think. Or it's not that important. I don't think Andy being the drug dealer really pertains to why Summer is missing. I think selling drugs is low on the totem pole compared to what happened to Summer. She said it puts us in extreme danger in the public. I'm not joking. And nobody gives a fuck or is taking it seriously. He has been vetted. He is innocent. Nobody needs his side for anything other than drama, than to eat him for profit. And that will get us or the public hurt or murdered. And Andy isn't the dealer, not even close. And everyone trying to get him knows it. So they know what the fuck kind of bullshit they're up to. Andy and a random grandma weed doesn't have shit to do with Summer. The feds are aware of it and have been since day one before dark. He is on camera 6 days a week. Same schedule, same time for years, plus GPS, plus car GPS, plus Google GPS. I even have. This YouTube hunt for Andy is horseshit. But Don, Doug, Chris, Josh, all trying, and it's horseshit. I said, okay, well, I won't talk to him then. Not that I have an opportunity to do so. I just won't try or attempt to. So the next day, I messaged her and I said, are you still wanting to meet for dinner or something? And she says, is Chris playing that shit with he and Josh that wasn't even supposed to be recorded? LOL. And then she says, I'm just getting up. I've been napping while my eldest could come in and watch my youngest. It's been a rough night again. I said, I've been out and about, don't know what he's doing. I'll check it out. She said, F them. I'm so over this nonsense. It's really only ends with my dead body and with Andy involved somehow. And now you two helping it along too, I guess, bizarrely enough. Oh, well, or who cares? It's just real lives for profit, right? I said, I'm sorry. And she said, if you want to try for tomorrow, we can. She says, it's been a bad day. And the last bit has been spent on the phone crying with my neighbors from Ben Hill, thanking me for trying to protect them and calling out Molly for terrorizing them and trying to stop others from coming in there. They're all so tired of people in there, so exhausted, so goddamn driven crazy, they're in tears, but YouTube gives no shits. So guys, she didn't want me to see or speak to Andy, local ass. And right there, she says right here, she knows that the other people are gone. Like the other group is gone. She knows it's just me and just me and my daughter. And she's sitting here trying to tell me that Ben Hill is just so tired of being terrorized and all this, and that they're in tears, that they've been on the phone crying together. So she was trying to make me feel bad, so I wouldn't go talk to anybody. That's how I got it from. That's how I took that. I respond to her. I said, I can totally meet up with you tomorrow. It's up to you. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I'd love to take you and the littles, and I put in parentheses, LOL, I call mine Munchkin, to dinner or wherever. I don't need to record anything. No need. You talk on YouTube all the time. So she doesn't even respond to that. And then she messages about an hour and a half later, I guess after my live, and says, Fred showed you bones, huh? Fred is Fred. I like Fred, but there's a reason we all say Fred is Fred, and you have to speak Fred. And I said, he seemed pretty nice, but yeah, I can tell he's a little off. She said, the dogs were over there, by the way, everywhere, countless times and days. An exact spot was combed because of certain stuff. No way are those human or were missed. I said, yeah, I don't believe it's possible they were missed. She said, they are just Fred making you look silly, is my guess. He knows animal remains, as we all do. That neighborhood and community are starting to study you all and fight back. I'm telling you. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, she goes, expect it. They showed up here. So, oh wait, okay. So 2 days or so, that was, she doesn't message me at all the next day, I noticed. And so she doesn't message me. We were supposed to meet. It looks like then she tells me something is private, and I told her I won't say anything. It doesn't have anything to do with this case. It's just some harassment that she was been getting. So I didn't talk. She didn't get a hold of me that day. That's the only day she didn't get a hold of me. And then we started talking, and she messages me randomly Friday evening and says, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? Why was your post taken down? It was removed. I didn't do that. She said, what post? I said, oh, wait. I told her that what big eyes took it down. Okay, so she goes, what did you do? And then she tells me, BK is saying you've caused issues with Andy, Fred, and since BK is lying sack of shit, I'm asking you and not others are going on YouTube first to find out why it's in my inbox being said. Wonder why. If she has issues, she will message, so I'm not worried about it. Of course, the voice thing, it says error. I don't understand it. I used to, you could always play voice clips for forever, but I messaged her a voice clip. I had no idea what she's saying, talking about, because I don't watch Benny, but she said, Benny is saying you've caused issues with Andy and I and Fred. And she said, so what's the real deal with whatever was said to Fred? Or do I need to call him to figure it out? See, she's wondering, right here, she's asking me what I said to Fred. And then she said, I don't think any of you understand that if you go in there and say the wrong name or the wrong name, she said it wrong name or wrong name twice, or slip to the wrong person, you can and will cause real murders and death in there once the attention is gone, and maybe even before. I sent her a voice clip that won't play, and I'll show you guys the screenshots. They won't play, I'm not lying. It says error. Maybe they'll start playing like when I pull it up again. And she said, even between family, Beach Creek is not a joke. We've all tried to tell all of y'all. I'm not worried about what Fred said. Fred is Fred, but if you said the wrong thing to him, you could literally cause him to, well, be Fred, and that's bad. I sent her 2 voice clips that will not freaking play. And she said, LOL, Fred is Fred. Fred speak. Fred is Fred speak. And fun fact, Fred wasn't even in Ben Hill the day Summer vanished. And I've mentioned why and when he actually came into Ben Hill in my videos. I said, oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is a fun fact. She said, and cops and feds were there when he came in, and the name he gave you is wrong. And I said, what name? And I said, whose name? She said, and he told us Summer was killed Saturday. And why and when he actually came into Ben Hill in my videos? I said, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Said, and cops and feds were there when he came in, and the name he gave you is wrong. And I said, what name? I said, whose name? She said, and he told us Summer was killed Saturday, so Fred is Fred, like I said. Fred speak. I said, I don't know what you mean about him giving me the wrong name. She goes, I'm not going to offer that because there's a reason you all were done as you were. I said, okay, I'm confused because I really didn't ask names unless you mean the neighbor where the bones were. He did mention some names himself without me asking when he spoke about things. And she said, no offense, and nothing personal. I'm just letting them protect and close off. I said, no offense taken. She said, I think the sooner they're all left alone, the quicker Beach Creek will do what Beach Creek does and answers will be found. I said, well, I'm leaving this weekend. So she's sitting there telling me basically, oh, if you leave, then answers will be found, basically. The next day, Saturday, or no, after, it was the same night, but past midnight, she tried to call me. I didn't answer because I was like, she's trying to see where I'm at, to see if I'm still in freaking Tennessee. Because she never like messages me like this. And she said, just trying to give you a heads up before I go live, not directed at you. I said, I appreciate that. I'm just on the phone right now. Sorry about that. She said, I'm going to give my 2 cents on how you're being done with the Bones BS though. I said, pretty crazy if someone made that up because they can get in a lot of trouble. She said, and a certain snake has tried to set up on this PayPal Venmo shit. I'm about to play fuck off, I think is what she's trying to say. And in response to me saying, pretty crazy if someone made that up because they can get in a lot of trouble, she said, that's not my problem nor my monkey. And everyone trying to feed that BS out in chats to the paranoid can kiss my ass.
These perfumes have taken over the internet, and if you don't have them yet, you are completely missing out.